On March 20, 1882, the Earp vendetta ride was led by Deputy United States Marshal Wyatt Earp for a loose confederation of outlaw cowboys they believed had ambushed his brothers Virgil and Morgan Earp, maiming the former and murdering the latter. The two Earp brothers were targeted in retaliation for the deaths of 3 cowboys during the gunfight at the OK Corral on October 26, 1881. Between March 20th and April 15th, 1882, a federal posse searched southeastern Cochise County in the Arizona Territory for those believed responsible for the attacks on Virgil and Morgan. Although several suspects were identified and charged, they were quickly released due to legal loopholes or strong alibis provided by members of the cowboy faction. Wyatt Earp then continued pursuing them under a federal warrant. About 2 weeks after Morgan's murder, Wyatt Earp, along with his brothers Warren and James, Doc Holliday, and 2 deputies, escorted Virgil and his wife Allie to a train bound for California and Tucson. There, they discovered that the suspects, Ike Clanton and Frank Stillwell, were already present. After Virgil, Allie, and James boarded the train, Wyatt noticed 2 men nearby whom he believed to be Clanton and Stillwell. He and several others chased them down, killing Stillwell but failing to catch the second man. When Stillwell's body was discovered the next morning, a Tucson justice of the peace issued arrest warrants for the 5 lawmen suspected of the killing. Upon returning to Tombstone, Cochise County Sheriff Johnny Behan attempted to arrest them after receiving notice of the warrants, but they ignored him and continued their pursuit of other suspected cowboys, including Curly Bill Brocious. In response, Behan assembled a sheriff's posse made up of deputies including Phineas Clanton and Johnny Ringo, along with about 20 cowboys and local ranchers. Acting on local warrants, they tracked the Earp posse in an effort to arrest them. Although the larger sheriff's posse came close, they never directly confronted the smaller Earp group, which was supported by local businessmen and ranchers and even mocked Behan's efforts in a newspaper letter. Over time, the federal posse killed 4 men, beginning with Stillwell and ending with Brocious. Around April 15th, the Earps and some of their allies left the Arizona Territory for the New Mexico Territory. On March 20th, 1995, the Tokyo subway sarin attack was a domestic chemical terrorist attack perpetrated in Tokyo, Japan, by members of the Aum Shinrikyo cult. In a series of 5 coordinated strikes, attackers released the nerve agent sarin on 3 Tokyo metro lines during rush hour. The attack murdered 14 people and left 50 seriously injured, some of whom later died, and caused temporary vision issues for nearly 1,000 others. The targeted trains passed through Kasumigaseki and Nagatocho areas that housed Japan's national diet. The group responsible, led by Shoko Asahara, had previously carried out multiple violent acts involving sarin, including the Matsumoto attack 9 months earlier. They had also developed other nerve agents like VX for assassination purposes and attempted to produce biological weapons such as anthrax and botulinum toxin. After learning of a planned police raid on March 22nd, Asahara ordered the subway attack to disrupt investigations into the cult and possibly trigger the apocalyptic scenario he had predicted. Following the incident, authorities conducted extensive raids, arresting many high-ranking members of the group. Police operations continued for months, resulting in over 200 arrests, including Asahara. 13 top members, including Asahara, were sentenced to death and later executed, while many others received prison terms, some for life, and the attack remains the deadliest act of terrorism in modern Japanese history. And on March 20th, 2003, the Iraq War began when a United States-led combined force of troops from the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, and Poland invaded the Republic of Iraq. According to United States President George W. Bush and United Kingdom Prime Minister Tony Blair, the coalition's objective was to eliminate Iraq's alleged weapons of mass destruction, end Saddam Hussein's support for terrorism, and liberate the Iraqi people. However, just before the invasion, a United Nations inspection team led by Hans Blix found no evidence of such weapons. Blair argued that Iraq had failed to take a final opportunity to disarm what US and Britain officials described as an immediate threat to global security. The invasion faced strong opposition from several United States allies including Canada, France, Germany, and New Zealand. In 2004, United Nations Security General Kofi Annan declared the invasion illegal under international law, calling it a violation of the United Nations Charter. A month before the invasion, on February 15, 2003, millions of people around the world protested, including a world record-breaking demonstration of 3 million in Rome, Italy. The conflict began with an airstrike on Baghdad's presidential palace on March 20, 2003, followed the next day by a ground invasion into southern Iraq from near the Kuwaiti border. Coalition forces targeted Basra and its surrounding oil fields, while the main army advanced northward, engaging Iraqi forces in battles such as Nasiriyah on March 23. Widespread airstrikes disrupted Iraq's military command, limiting its ability to resist effectively. On March 26, the 173rd Airborne Brigade was deployed near Kirkuk, which they joined Kurdish fighters to secure the northern region. Coalition troops continued advancing towards central Iraq with relatively little resistance, quickly overwhelming most Iraqi forces. On April 9th, after a six-day battle, Baghdad fell to coalition control. This was followed by the capture of Kirkuk on April 10th and Tikrit on April 15th. Saddam Hussein and Iraq's leadership went into hiding as coalition forces completed their takeover. On May 1st, President Bush announced the end of major combat operations in his Mission Accomplished speech, marking the transition from invasion to occupation. Saddam Hussein was later captured on December 13, 2003. Well, that's all I have for the events. This is my last history video before I leave for spring break. If you like what you hear, don't forget to leave a comment down below and subscribe. This is Stephen Luke, and I'll see you next time for another history update. And those who are leaving for spring break, we wish you all a happy spring break. Thank you.